absolutely part of the heart and soul that makes Pulse Centers work. And I'm super glad to have her with me today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's catch up a little bit, even though we almost live together, very close. We still have to catch up on stuff. How did you guys have fun in the snow?
We did.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Good snowman building.
Yeah. So, and no
Snow.
injuries, right? Did you come
No
out injury
injuries.
free?
No injuries, no frostbite.
All
Didn't
right.
last long. No trouble with the roads. So.
I think in the South, that's the best kind of snow is when we have enough for the kids to play in and enjoy, and it's really pretty. And then it's pretty much gone the next day.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, like we said, this is the drug-free pain relief hour and is sponsored by Pulse Centers. And before we kind of dive in, we would, like to introduce you and offer you to give us a call if you have any questions that you'd just like to talk with us about. The number here, 423-800-8949. So let's just dive into Pulse Centers and kind of talk about what we do, what kind of therapy we offer, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Roxanne, drug-free pain relief. Let's talk about the technology we use to provide that.
Well, at Pulse Centers, we use a state-of-the-art technology called PEMF, and that stands for Pulsed Electromagnetic Fields. And a real basic explanation of how PEMF works to address pain and other, health issues is basically PEMF helps to introduce energy into the cells, providing the fuel that our cells need to work those natural healing processes, natural anti-inflammatory processes that are already within us. They're there, just literally don't have enough energy to run on. So we just kind of tap in on the body's natural abilities to heal and to regenerate, itself. So that's a basic explanation of, PMF and how it works.
So it's a non-medical answer then to many of the issues that people have, the physical issues that they struggle with on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point. It is a non-medical approach, completely medication-free, but also, it's a non-medical approach, meaning there is no foreign, entities. There is no foreign, chemicals, drugs, medications, anything that's going into the body. So it is a completely non-medical approach to addressing issues of pain, wellness, overall, just general health. So that was a great point because it is definitely a non-medical approach.
Right. A lot of people compare our technology. We compare it to the TENS unit. The TENS unit is different. It is more of a superficial stimulation in one small area of the body, whereas PEMF lets us generate much stronger pulses to penetrate the skin, fat, muscle, bone, and it goes all the way into the cell wall to promote the deepest healing possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is one question, I'm sure you've heard it several times, from different people who come into the office. Well, is this not just like a glorified, TENS unit? Yes and no. A lot of times we'll give them, sort of the comparison of like a tricycle and a Porsche. Technically, yeah, they're both modes of transportation, but that's kind of where the similarities end there. And it's the same way with, PEMF and like the TENS unit.
Mm-hmm.
Like she said, that TENS unit, number one, is very small, and you have those little, stickers that you put on whatever particular area that you're having issue with. So it's very isolated. But then it's also it is very superficial. So, and I think you would agree with this. What we do find is that people who are using, the TENS units at home and getting a good response from those, really respond well to PEMF.
Oh, absolutely. I think most people who use the TENS unit also find that using our PEMF therapy at the Pulse Centers is a much more relaxing, comfortable experience too, just because of the depth of the pulses, and we have different settings where we can control the pulses to make them comfortable, but yet very powerful too.
Yeah, and that's another really good point too. Because the pulses of PEMF are so much stronger, and we're talking exponentially stronger than what's utilized in with the TENS unit, they don't have to hit as hard. A TENS unit, you really feel that pow, 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 and, a lot of people kind of describe it as, feeling a little beat up, after that. But because the pulses of PEMF are so much more powerful, they don't have to hit as hard. So they're able to penetrate much, much deeper, but they're not banging on the surface. It's actually, very soothing, very relaxing. We always kind of joke about having lots of nappers at the clinic because it is a very soothing, very relaxing process. So,
Absolutely. There are many different applications of PEMF. So let's dive into a few and explain how we can help several physical issues that some of our patients have had.
yeah, well, we do have just a really wide variety of issues, that we address at Pulse Clinic. And and it seems like things seem to kind of come in waves. In my personal family, we have had a wave of foot injuries. My daughter started it off breaking her foot her first couple of weeks of college. And then I followed it up, with a small break while I was hiking. And now my son has joined the club, and he's in a cast with a broken foot. So it's funny how things kind of tend to go in, cycles. But on that note, I actually want to say this. I had a really small stress fracture. Mine wasn't, really involved, but I used Pulse every single day while I was at the office. And was it 3 weeks, Michelle?
Yes, 3 weeks, and all day. She pulsed her foot.
Yeah, I just, had
all day.
Yeah, nice low settings, but I pulsed it all day while I was sitting at my desk working. And 3 weeks later, I did a 5K. So it's amazing what it can do. But anyway, I'm digressing just a little bit. I'll get back on track talking about things tending to sort of go in cycles. Right now, we're seeing a lot of arthritis.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, seeing a lot of arthritis. And arthritis is one of those things that tends to respond very quickly. And right now, let's make a differentiation between the two different types of arthritis. There's osteoarthritis, and then there's rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is that's the nasty one. That's the mean one. It's really, really painful and very difficult to address and treat, medically or otherwise. And then you have osteoarthritis, and osteoarthritis responds beautifully to PEMF. It also responds fairly quickly. And it is just so cool to see people come into the office and, their gait, the way that they're walking, the way that they're holding their hands, is stressed and painful. You can see it on their face. But it is so cool after a session, or even, when they come back for their next one, see those changes in them, see them feeling better already. It's just a super, super cool thing to see. But osteoarthritis does respond very, very well to PEMF. And just really quickly, we like to give official sort of definitions of things so that we know exactly what we're talking about here. And just arthritis in general is typically defined as just painful inflammation and stiffness of the joints. And, I think we all have people in our life or in our family. When I think of arthritis, I think of those, really exaggerated, enlarged hand joints or knuckles, if you will. And I think that's usually what comes to mind. That is definitely a form usually of osteoarthritis. But obviously, arthritis happens in lots of other areas of the body. You can have it in any joint area. And all of those areas are very easily addressed with PEMF and respond beautifully.
Yes, they are addressed well. We've had patients come in who weren't able to stand up straight because of issues with arthritis in their shoulders and back area. And because the arthritis is the definition is inflammation, and PEMF works to heal and address the body's natural anti-inflammatory response. It works well.
That's easy for you to say. They're using big words today.
Words, yeah. So it works well to help your body handle that in its own natural way.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the way that PEMF helps to address arthritis specifically is by hitting that anti-inflammatory component. And that's the same thing that arthritis medications address, themselves. Most of them do have an anti-inflammatory component to them. So again, we're taking something that is typically addressed in a medical way, and we're just kind of, changing the page a little bit and addressing that same inflammatory issue, but doing it without, medications, drugs, and whatever. So we are literally empowering the body's natural anti-inflammatory process to take over and to start working in those areas of inflammation in those joints. And it's a very, very effective process to use. And I'm thinking of one sweet lady that we've seen for quite a while, whose hands were almost, just almost locked up.
Locked up. They
Yeah,
were.
almost locked up. And she did present with the very typical, sort of enlarged, hand joints, as we think of. And wow, like the change in her was really amazing.
Mhm.
Pain
And
level,
very, very quick as well. Very
yeah,
quick.
she responded real quickly to it. So, and the thing about chronic pain in general that I always come back to, and it's part of why what we do means so much, is when you have chronic pain, whether it's arthritis or sciatic issues or migraines or whatever it is, that pain is infringing on your quality of life. It's infringing on your ability to enjoy your family, on your ability to enjoy your friends, and to do the things that you want to do and enjoy doing. And just because we're aging or getting older doesn't by default mean that we just have to automatically, give up some of those things. There are definitely ways to address those chronic pain issues and to do it in a healthy way that doesn't have side effects, that doesn't alter our health in any other way. You look at a medication list, or those commercials crack me up. It
helps one thing and the side effects are a couple hundred.
Yeah,
and usually sound more severe than whatever it's helping. So.
Yeah, and and again, PMF it's going to address those chronic pain issues. Right now we're talking about arthritis, but it is not going to give you that long list of issues. It's actually the reverse. It's going to help with other issues as well. So for us who deal with it every day, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Makes sense. So, Roxanne, let's tell people where we can go to find this. Tell them where we're located. How can they reach out to us?
Well, absolutely. You definitely want to come by and see us. We're really conveniently located. We're on Lee Highway, almost directly across from Capital Toyota. We're at 5811 Lee Highway, and we're in Suite 408 there. And you can always welcome to give us a call at 423-771-7755. And we do have a really good website as well, which is Pulse Centers and then the number 1.com.
If you look on our website, the pulsecenters1.com that Roxanne just mentioned, I highly recommend that. We are more than happy to answer any questions if you were to call in, but our website has a lot of good content. It has testimonials from some of our patients that we've been able to help. It has the contact information that Roxanne just listed, so you didn't have to write that down. But there's just a lot of science and a lot of extra information on that website.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, when we have a new patient call into the office and want to schedule an appointment, the first thing I ask is, have you been to our website yet? And the reason that we push that so hard is just because what you can see there on the website is such a better explanation and a deeper understanding than I can ever give you in a 5-minute phone call. Like she said, we have some of our patients who've been gracious enough to want to share their stories, and a lot of them are excited. They're like, yeah, I definitely want people to know what has changed my life, what this PMF has done for me. So it's nice to be able to look and see other real, genuine people, who've gone through PEMF sessions and have come out on the other side, living a happier, healthier, better, more enjoyable life. So, the testimonials are great, but also there's just there's some more in depth, like she said, explanations about the science behind PEMF. What it does and how it does what it does. And sort of on that note, I usually mention this in every show, but we encourage everyone to do their own research. Yeah, we want you to go and look at our website and see, everything that's there. But we don't want you to stop at our website. Get on Google and Google PEMF and arthritis, PEMF and migraines, PEMF and sciatica, whatever your issue is. Mayo Clinic has a lot of really good information out there about PEMF that typically comes up on searches pretty quickly. And then there are several other, docs across the country who are using it. But there's a lot of good information out there on PEMF. Most people aren't sitting down to Google, where's the closest PEMF clinic? Where can I find it? We're going to get in there, though,
Yes,
right,
we
Michelle?
are. We are.
We're going to get in there. But until we get you there, people are sitting down and Googling, what do I do about this sciatica that is killing me? What do I do about this arthritis? I'm taking, a dozen different medications, and I still can barely move when I wake up in the mornings. People are Googling those things, and we just want to put ourselves out there as a non-medical answer to those searches. Please do look at our website, but don't stop there. Definitely, go further and do your own research.
And we want to get you where you don't have to use that Band-Aid of medicine to help you feel pain relief. And we feel that you'll come in here, talk to us, let us show you what we can do, that you'll experience that as well.
Yeah. And I love the term Band-Aid. My husband is an internist, and, I have a strong, healthy belief for the proper place in healthcare for medications, for pain medicine, if you will. But it's a bridging drug. It is used to be bridged from an area of, injury or disease over to an area of, healed, healthy status. These drugs are not designed to be used, as long-term answers, to chronic pain. And then, of course, they come with their own, long-term side effects and issues. They start losing their effect. So then you have to ramp up and use something stronger, and that cycle just continues. So, again, we're Pulse Centers. We're located on the Lee Highway, right across from Capital Toyota. And I'll tell you this, too. It's one of the happiest places that you'll go.
Oh, it is.
No, I hope it always comes across in our expressions, but Michelle and I and the rest of our team genuinely believe in what we do. We love what we're doing. We get to go in and help make people feel better every single day. And, it's kind of hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to beat that. So we'll be breaking to our break here in just a few minutes. But again, if you have questions or anything that you'd like to ask or discuss, please feel free to give us a ring here at 423-800-8949. And we'll be back in the next segment here in just a little bit to discuss those things with you. And I think in our next segment, we're going to be talking with you about some specifics about sciatica. That's another issue that we deal with frequently.
Yes.
Yeah. And another one that responds very, very well to PEMF. When you can get a guy back out on the golf course and help him get his swing back, you know that you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
And that's one of our many little fun stories. So, but again, those stories about people getting back to enjoying their lives, to having quality of life, to be able to enjoy their family and friends without having that chronic pain hold you back. You don't want to sit back and watch, life happen around you. You want to get in. You want to be in the kitchen making that dinner for your family, or you want to be outside playing with those grandkids or whatever. We're taking that trip, and we want to help you get there. We want to help you do it. So we'll be back with you in just a few minutes, and thanks so much for listening to the Drug-Free Pain Relief Hour, sponsored by Pulse Centers.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. 3, 2, Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
An overflowing mass of people attended the latest Signal Mountain meeting on leaving the county schools, the last for the year. The December meeting of the Signal Mountain Town Council actually had too many attendees. Because of fire regulations, some had to be kicked out of the main meeting room. They spilled out into the lobby and some outside. Concerns of the residents are still the same as they always have been. What's going to happen if they decide to split from the Hamilton County school system? One of the main issues of contention was what will happen to special education students. These questions have yet to be answered. An eagle-eyed neighbor took a photo of a man she says was burglarizing her neighbor's home on December the 1st, and that led to the arrest of Mr. Brian Alex Stone Jr. Her photo showed a man carrying a flat-screen TV into a vehicle, license plate clearly visible. Police used that info to track down and arrest their suspect. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now. Miami Dolphins upset the New England Patriots 27-20 in Monday Night Football. Also, the Tennessee Valley Canoe Club recently presented a check for over $5,000 to Team River Runner Chattanooga that'll be used by TRR to help wounded military veterans. Tickets are available for one of the biggest wrestling events in the United States. It'll be held right here in Chattanooga on January 1st and 2nd. You can call the UTC ticket office at 423-266-MOX or 423-266-6627. Penn State, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, Michigan, Lehigh, Virginia, NC State, Northern Iowa, and Stanford are 10 teams that finished in the top 25 last season that'll be participating in this year's tournament. And the UTC men's tennis program is adding a two-time state champion tennis player from Mississippi for the 2018-19 season. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect lots of sunshine out there through your afternoon. Nice, but still quite cool. Highs into the lower 40s. Tonight, clear. Cold again. Lows mid and upper 20s. For Monday, more sunshine. Feeling better. Highs warmer into the lower 50s. Turning colder again for Tuesday and Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by KFC. Get your family the gift of a $20 fill-up from KFC. You put it on the table instead of under the tree, but they'll still love it. That's KFC. It's finger-licking good. And I'm Sports Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops a right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4.
The voice of NASCAR.
Toilet running?
Ray's Plumbing, 421-6341.
Drips under your feet, turning your floor into mush?
Ray's Plumbing, 421-6341.
Septic choking after years of neglect?
Ray's Plumbing, 421-6341.
Hi, this is Eric Pelton. Taxes, accounting, business advice. I've got a neat brochure, 12 ways to improve your business profits. Come on by for a free consultation and we'll give you a copy. E.J. Pelton Company, 332-3339.
Goss Insurance. Yes, we are local. And no, we don't have an 800 number. In fact, our mobile numbers are on our business cards. We live, work, play, and worship in Chattanooga, and we would love to help with your insurance. Business, auto, home, life insurance. Call now, save money. Call Goss Insurance for all your insurance needs. Goss Insurance, 875-2500. 875-2500.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect lots of sunshine out there through your afternoon. Nice, but still quite cool. Highs into the lower 40s. Tonight, clear. Cold again. Lows mid and upper 20s. For Monday, more sunshine. Feeling better. Highs warmer into the lower 50s. Turning colder again for Tuesday and Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by KFC. Get your family the gift of a $20 fill-up from KFC. You put it on the table instead of under the tree, but they'll still love it. That's KFC. It's finger-licking good. And I'm Sports Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree? Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nooga Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Drug-Free Pain Relief Hour, sponsored by Pulse Centers. Just a reminder, I'm Roxanne, and this is my colleague and right hand, always, Michelle. And we're here talking today about PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic fields, and how that addresses chronic pain and some other issues as well. So if you're just now joining us, welcome. And if you're still hanging with us, thanks for staying. So in our second half, we had talked earlier about arthritis specifically, and, how PEMF works with addressing, arthritis issues. And we're going to jump over and look at sciatica a little bit. We were saying earlier that, things in life do tend to sort of be cyclic. They tend to sort of come in rounds of things. And it's no different at Pulse Clinic. And right now we're seeing a lot of arthritis, and we're also seeing a lot of sciatica, which is not an unusual thing. That's probably one of the things that we see, that you think, Michelle, most often.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about sciatica. This is something that affects people of all ages, of all activity levels, and it will definitely affect that quality of life that we talk so much about, and keep you sort of on the sidelines when you're really wanting to be in the game. So before we start, we always like to have, an official definition of what it is that we're discussing. So Michelle, if you could just kind of give us that, that school book definition of sciatica so that we know exactly what we're dealing with.
Sure. Sciatica is the basic definition of sciatica is when you have pain radiating down your sciatic nerve, hence the name. And that nerve runs down it runs down both legs, but your pain could be in either or both legs, and that's going to originate from your lower back.
Right. And again, sciatic pain, typically, a lot of times we think about it in that hip area, kind of coming from the lower back. It's going to radiate down that hind end a little bit and around those glutes, round to the hip area, and then once it progresses even further, starts running down the upper part of the thighs and affecting those areas. And again, like we were saying a minute ago, sciatica affects people in all age ranges, all different levels of activity. It can be a result of an injury, but in all honesty, most often we just see that it's kind of wear and tear just from, activities of life. A lot of golfers have sciatic issues. There's even a joke about golfer's hip. There's tennis elbow and there's golfer's hip. Yeah, yes. Golfer's hip. But again, it's very obvious that golf swing is going to, you engage that hip and that lower back area in ways that, our body doesn't naturally move. So, you're using that part of the body, in a different way. So obviously, there's opportunity there to have issues. So again, lots of different ways that it can come about, but it is something that all different ranges of people tend to have issue with. So Michelle, most common treatment, what tends to be sort of that first line when you go to the doctor or whatever, and they say, yeah, that sounds like sciatica.
They usually recommend getting an epidural steroid injection.
Yeah, and that's something that we see a lot of that.
We do.
And again, I truly do think that, those sorts of treatments have their place. And I don't want to speak ill of that at all. But we have definitely seen multiple people who have come in even after having had an epidural injection, and they're having pain afterwards, not just, from the injection itself, but they're not getting the relief that they want to get. And now they've kind of got some additional issues. But for the most part, I will say that the epidural injections tend to address that sciatic issue for a time.
Right.
It does.
But it's like what we were talking about before about Band-Aid effect, and it's a temporary, relief. Whereas we want to try. I mean, steroids are strong anti-inflammatory. I can't say it again, Roxanne. I'm gonna have to change words.
That's Michelle's word of the day.
That's my word of the day.
Anti-inflammatory.
Anti-inflammatory agents. So they do work, but it's going to be a temporary fix and a temporary thing. So the PEMF can help with sciatica pain for a much longer period of time.
Well, absolutely. And again, the way that PEMF helps with sciatic pain is very, very similar to, what happens with the way that it affects arthritic pain. And it is by addressing that inflammatory component. The body has a natural anti-inflammatory response, just like it has, natural healing processes and natural regenerative qualities. Those things our body is an awesome machine. And, the good Lord made it for longevity. He made the body to last and to be able to work a lifetime. So, those regenerative and healing processes are there. And again, all we're doing is tapping into those and literally just providing the fuel for that anti-inflammatory response to take over. And the difference between doing that medically, with oral steroids, you'll have a taper that a lot of people will use, injections, or by the actual epidural, which is delivering the steroid medication directly to the nerve area. Those are foreign anti-inflammatory agents. They're obviously not naturally produced by the body. So yeah, they do work, but they work for a period of time until their presence is completely gone. And once their presence is completely gone, the likelihood of having a refractory anti-inflammatory issue is very, very high. So the difference between introducing that foreign anti-inflammatory agent like a steroid and doing PEMF is that we're keying in and fueling that natural anti-inflammatory response within the body. That doesn't go away. That stays with you. And obviously, the more frequently, the more often that you have PEMF treatments, the more often that you're fueling it. But still, that's just like putting gas in your car or, plugging in your cell phone when it needs to be charged. You're literally just sort of charging the body and, fueling those processes within yourself instead of taking that foreign anti-inflammatory agent, every time that its presence kind of, fizzles out of the body.
Well, and anti-inflammatories that are introduced into the body, like steroids, they have side effects too that could be unpleasant. Steroids a lot of times leave you flushed and red-faced, give you hot flashes, if you will. They can keep you from sleeping, give you sleeplessness or anxiety, as well as raise your blood sugar. And that's particularly an issue with people who have diabetes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we were in our first segment, we were talking about the commercials just absolutely crack me up. I mean, it's almost silly to, take one medication for one particular issue. And then there are, a dozen other, side effects that you're going to have to treat as well. So, and steroids are no different. And again, they work. Steroids are a very strong anti-inflammatory agent. But along with them, definitely comes some significant issues. I had a steroid injection in my knee once, and I was flushed and hot. I mean, I was way too young to be having hot flashes, but I felt that way. I mean, and that was from an injection in my knee. And I just, I thought that, a little bit odd, but, that's not a serious side effect. It's uncomfortable. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world. But when you start looking at anxiety and sleeplessness, you're starting to get into issues that not only affect your quality of life, but they're going to affect your health. If you are in an anxious state, that affects your blood pressure, your pulse rate. That can definitely affect if you're not sleeping. That starts to affect the way that your body needs to sleep and rest, and that's the healing, regenerating time that that a lot of things happen while we're asleep. And the body is not using all of its energy to move us around and to eat and to work and to play and to do all the things that we do. So it's able to take that energy and focus it on the body itself. and the areas of need that we have, within the body. So, when you're taking a drug that's causing you to not be able to rest well or sleep well, especially if you're doing that on a long-term basis, that's going to have an effect, a strong effect on your overall health, on the health of your body. And then, we run into, the next side effect that we wanted to talk about a little bit, which is elevated blood sugars. And this is actually something that, Michelle has some firsthand experience within her family. But blood sugar levels, whether you're a type 1 or type 2 diabetic, they're very prone to, they're affected very easily just by our exercise, and certainly by the things that we eat or take in. But also, when you're introducing another component that is going to monkey with your blood sugar as a diabetic, that's a really, really serious thing to look at. And you can talk a little bit, Michelle, just about how reactive diabetes really is.
Yes. My daughter was just diagnosed with type 1 diabetes about 3 weeks ago. And so we've had an adjustment with that. She is a very active, athletic young lady. And so we are trying to adjust her insulin levels based on her activity and what she eats and things like that. So the thought of having to try, which is hard to predict, by the way, she's 12. So just, preteen, active, all of that. So the idea of having to try to predict and work around something else in your body that's going to adjust your blood sugar levels, and you don't really know how or how much, and it may vary depending on the day as well, that would be stressful. So natural is definitely better, and not introducing, something else into your body.
Yeah. And, I know that, through y'all's learning process with, taking all of the different, factors into consideration that will affect, blood sugar levels, activity, and, how well she slept or rested. And obviously, intake of food, carbs and sugars and things, that can be hard enough to predict sometimes. But then when you add on top of that, a component, a medicine that is going to interact differently with blood sugars. And typically, it does tend to cause them to elevate, but it can really go either way. It just makes managing diabetes, which is already a complicated issue, for those who have to deal with it. It just makes it that more complex. And, keeping diabetes under control is incredibly important to your whole body health. So, again, when we're looking at, again, I'll go back to your word Band-Aid, Michelle, because I think it's perfect. A lot of times we use, pain medications or other, medications and treatments. And they really are just kind of a Band-Aid. It may make those symptoms go away, for a short time. But if you're dealing with a chronic long-term issue, you don't need a short-term answer. You need a long-term answer. If you have chronic long-term pain, you don't need something that's going to help you for just 3 or 4 hours. You need something that's going to come on board the body and help the body to manage that pain itself with all of the natural processes that are there. There may still be times when, it's necessary to intervene with medication. But it's about changing the dynamic from the rule being living from pill to pill to pill to pill to being, I'm learning how to manage this. My body is learning how to manage this and reduce the pain. And then occasionally when, there's an unusual situation and I have a breakthrough moment of pain, that's when you use those Band-Aids, those pain medications, because that is what they're designed for. They are not designed for long-term chronic pain. And it's just a little bit of a sidestep here, but I've told our story here before about how Pulse Centers got started. And Michelle, you're close with my family, so you were really there for that whole process.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, but as I said before, my husband is an internist, and for years he had just really been concerned with the cycle that he was seeing of these chronic long-term pain patients who would come in and they'd had their epidurals or they'd had their, whatever, tests and procedures done. And they're still coming in for their regular appointments and saying, doc, I still hurt. And, he would come to a point with so many of them where there wasn't an answer beyond, they'd done all the tests, they'd done all the procedures and all that, and there wasn't an answer beyond whipping out that script pad and starting that opioid cycle. And he just never felt good about it. I mean, we would talk about, that was definitely a topic of conversation at dinner for, quite some time. And he was exposed to PEMF several years ago. Ended up having, a shoulder injury himself and had some PEMF treatments and felt the difference himself. He felt the difference of what pain medication did versus feeling the body's natural, healing processes. And he said, I got to be able to offer this to my patients. I need this in Chattanooga. And so that's how we started, was from, we have medical roots. And, my husband serves as our, supervising physician as well. But it came from a very, very genuine place within the medical community of concern for the opioid cycle and how ineffective it is at actually managing, long-term chronic pain. So I think it's important, there's new businesses and new things that pop up left and right almost every day. And I think it's important to know the roots behind a business, especially if they are, offering a type of health care or anything that's going to affect your health. You need to know where they came from and why they're there. Again, we get to go make people feel better every single day. And neither of us would be able to support our families selling a thing in the world. That's not who we are.
No, ma'am.
No, we're not. But what we are is passionate about what we do. And we believe deeply in what we do and in the goodness that PEMF can provide and can offer. And so, that's what we go in and do every day.
We have both used, like you said, we both believe in it and know what it can do for us. We have all, I think probably all of our family members in both of our families have used PEMF therapy in some shape or form since we've been open and seen results.
Yeah. What was I doing this morning when you got to the office?
She was sitting in the chair pulsing her shoulder.
Yeah, I don't know if I slept funny or whatever, but I've been having some little muscle spasms in my neck. And so instead of grabbing the muscle relaxer out of the cabinet, I said, I'll pulse it when I get to the office. And, I'm feeling pretty good now. So I do find it interesting. A lot of people ask, I'm sure you hear it too, well, do you guys use this? And
we need to start scheduling ourselves on our schedules so that we can all have time to use it. But lately that hasn't happened. So
no, that's the answer.
The desire is definitely there to use the therapy every day.
Yeah. Our answer is always not often enough.
Right.
But yeah, it is definitely part of our everyday life and our, health and wellness. How long has it been since have you had a cold or anything since you started working for us?
No, I have not.
Isn't it interesting? Yeah. Go ahead.
Anytime I start getting any kind of a congestion or headache, sinusy type stuff, I can go put the paddles and pulse my head or, neck area, whichever, is bothering the most, sinus or headache, and instant relief.
Yeah. It's a nice perk, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Nice perk. And just kind of, and this is on the same line of just general wellness, but, we spend a lot of time talking about the side effects of those anti-inflammatories, whether it be, the injections or, just oral steroids. And, but again, with PEMF, we take that long list of potential side effects and we literally just flip it over. We flip that coin and look at the other side. Because it does, where you have steroids that are causing issues with sleeplessness, lots of research behind PEMF actually helping with insomnia. That's one of the questions that we always ask, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Are you sleeping better? Have you noticed if you're sleeping better and more relaxed at night?
Yeah. Most people after this first couple of sessions, a lot of times before we can even ask, will say, I actually slept through the night last night, or I had the best night's, rest and sleep that I've had in years. So again, you're taking something that for medications and drugs is a side effect and a negative, and you flip it over to PMF, and it's actually a bonus and a positive. And the same thing is true for anxiety. That heart racing, nervous feeling that you get when you're on steroids, and we've all felt it, makes us a little irritable.
Yes, a little irritable, edgy. Not talking about anyone I know, are you?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Good.
But steroids do tend to make us a little bit irritable and that anxiety feeling. And PMF, again, tons of research behind the anti-anxiety effect of PEMF, that relaxing, soothing effect. So again, you're flipping something that for those medications is a very likely possibility, negative side effect. Turn it around to PMF, and it's actually a positive. And then, what I think is probably the weightiest issue that we discussed as far as side effects of those, steroids being, that it interferes with our, blood sugar levels, particularly for diabetics. And there is lots and lots of research out there that PEMF helps the body to regulate blood sugar levels. And that's important for all of us, whether you're diabetic, whether you're not. Obviously, it is of particular importance, to diabetics. But, we see this time and time again, regardless of the topic that we're looking at. You see negative side effects of tons and tons of drugs that we take. And 9 times out of 10, we can take that list and look through it and say, not only does PEMF not cause this side effect, but actually the truth is that PEMF addresses that issue and is helpful in reducing or eliminating it altogether. So,
two for one.
Yeah, kind of 2 for 1. So, kind of coming close to wrapping up here a little bit. So just a bit of a reminder about us. Again, we are Pulse Centers, and we're on Lee Highway, right across from Capital Toyota. We do accept new patients. You do not have to have a doctor's referral. You're happy to give us a call at 423-771-7755, and we will schedule a free consultation and also your first session at no cost. And we also invite you to visit our website, Michelle.
www.pulsecenters1.com. And as we said before, there are lots of testimonials on our website, people that we've been able to help personally. These are testimonials of ours, not shared from anyone else. Some science behind our treatment, and our contact information if you were to need to reach us to schedule that free consultation and first free appointment. Give us a call.
Yeah, and actually on the website there, under the contact information, there is a space there where you can actually just email us. So, if, some people don't like to, give that cold call and just have a conversation with someone they don't know. And obviously we understand that. So there is a place there under the contact portion. Shoot us an email. If you have questions or concerns or thoughts, shoot us an email, and we'll get back with you and start a dialogue. But we would absolutely love to meet you. Again, we feel very strongly that chronic pain is affecting daily quality of life, and we don't just think that we have an answer to that, but we know that we do. And we would love nothing more than to help you start the new year feeling better and enjoying life. So till next time, I'm Roxanne.
And I'm Michelle.
And we'll talk with you next week on the Drug-Free Pain Relief Hour, sponsored by Pulse Centers. Give us a call at 423-771-7755. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.